Okay, I think we are live. Let me see here. Okay, looks like we're live. What is going on, everybody? It's your boy, the Nature Boy, and this is the first live stream on the channel. And what I want to do here today is I'm going to review One Piece chapter 1075. I'm going to do a quick read through just to refresh my memory on the chapter. And just like I did with chapter 1073 and 1072, we're going to read through it quickly and we're going to discuss it and go over some theories, some discussions, whatever it is that we're thinking. And as you guys hop in, we're going to discuss this together, and then we're going to do a Q&A. And if you guys have any questions, go ahead and ask, and I'll answer those questions. This is going to be the 1,000 subscriber special. So again, thank you guys so much for 1,000 subscribers. I know I'm a bit late, very late actually with this subscriber special, but couldn't really set my mind on what to do. So I figured I would just do a live stream. And if you guys are seeing this, hop on now. I'm going to share it. Let me share this to as many places as I can. Let me share it on. So I put it up on the community post, and I'm hoping you guys see this. Let me put it on my Twitter as well. And let me see. Okay, so we're gonna start reading the chapter now. So One Piece. Again, I've already read this chapter. Unfortunately, I couldn't live react to it at the time, but I'm gonna give my thoughts on the chapter now as I read along with you guys. So One Piece chapter 1075. Labo Stratum, Death Game. And we have the cover page here. And the cover page is Vegapunk, and he's meeting the Gorosei, the 5 Elder Stars, for the first time. It's a younger Vegapunk. This was very interesting because this shows us just how important Vegapunk actually is to everyone in the story of One Piece, to the top of the Marines. Also, if you guys, what is up, Sololo? What is up? You are officially the first person to hop on my first live. So congratulations. We're gonna be reading through One Piece chapter 1075, reviewing it, talking about it, and we're gonna be doing Q&As, and then maybe even some tier lists, some power scaling, rating some arcs, whatever it is. We're gonna just fly through this live stream and we're gonna go off a feel, see how it is. So let me know. Comment down below if the audio is good, or if the audio is quiet, or if it's loud, so I can hopefully change it. But in the meantime, we're gonna keep reading this chapter. So, come in, Pythagoras. Do you read me? I heard a loud boom. What was that? The aftermath of the explosion. Obviously, continuing from the explosion of last time. Pythagoras, please respond. And we have Shaka. Has there been an accident? You weren't caught up in it, were you? Black Lemmy, what is up, bro? Welcome to the live stream. Officially the second person on the live stream. I appreciate you guys hopping on. So like I was telling Solo, we're gonna be reading 1075 quickly, just a speed through, and I'm gonna be giving you guys my live thoughts. I've already read the chapter, but I want to give you guys a review, and I want to make sure I don't forget anything. So I'm gonna read through it quickly, and we're gonna speed through it, and we're gonna give our thoughts, and then Q&A, rank some arcs, power scaling, whatever you guys are feeling, you're in the mood for. That's what we're gonna do. Okay, my audio is a little low. Okay, thanks for letting me know. Let me hold up the mic. I'm gonna hold it up like this. Let me know if this is better, Black Lemmy. If this is too loud, I'll draw it a little bit away. If it's too quiet, I'll bring it up closer a bit. So Shaka, has there been an accident? You weren't caught up in it, were you? Snail 12, Building C. Check out the surrounding area. And we see the monitor, of course, and we see this person cut off the monitors. Now, the very obvious pick here is Saint J. Garcia, and you can see the dreadlocks. You can almost see it. You can see the eyes. You can see the hat. You can see the squared-shaped head, so it's probably a hat. And it looks like a silhouette of Saint J. Garcia. Let's go, Ringo. Thanks for joining. So, so clearly Oda wants us to think it is Saint J. Garcia, Saturn. And I know people are going to say silhouettes back in the day of Kaido and Big Mom, and silhouettes can be very deceptive, which is true, but the difference there is he drew random silhouettes of characters he hadn't introduced yet, and then later on decided he was going to make them look a different way. This is a case where he is introducing a character's name that has been in the story for so long within this arc, just a few chapters ago. Shows us a few chapters ago the relevance that this character is now going to play in this arc, and this very specific character, and then now shows us a silhouette that looks exactly and specifically like that person. So to me, if this isn't Saint J. Garcia, then Oda is just trolling us in almost like a negative way, because it's like you're clearly drawing him. It looks like him. Unless he can come up with a realistic way where this is just something that looks like him, but it isn't him, and it has a solid explanation, then I'm all for that. Otherwise, I don't see how this can't be Saint J. Garcia. If it's not, I just feel like that's Oda trolling us at that point. Yes, sir, we are live. Xagaro. We're live. This is the first Nature Boy live stream. Thank you guys for coming. Solo, Black Lemmy, Ringo, Xagaro, all of you guys. So I'm going to say again now that more of you guys are here. We're going to be going through chapter 1075, and we're going to be discussing our thoughts, all of us. And we're going to bounce back off each other, come up with some theories, some discussion, stuff like that. And then if you guys want either a Q&A or some kind of tier list and ranking, we could do like top 10 best arcs in One Piece. We can do top 10 strongest characters. We can do anything. So we're going to finish this chapter, give our thoughts, and then see where we go from there. So I definitely think it's Saint J. Garcia. It has to be. There's no one else that can be. So the snail's off, and then we see Zoro and Luffy in the room just outside of Shaka, the control room, and we see Lucci and Kaku are still on the ground. Luffy's a bit concerned. He's wondering what's going on, and then they show us. This was good because this illustrated the part with Building C, Building A, Building B. This gave a good illustration of where everybody is. I like how Oda always does that. He did that with Onigashima. He did that with Dressrosa. He did that in Marineford. So we get a good idea of how far each person is from everyone else. Once characters start splitting, this is really good, especially indoors. Like Punk Hazard, he did it. It's good. So I really enjoy this because we know who's closer to who now. So who might bump into who. So we got the third floor of Building A, which is the center building. Hey, where are you, Vegapunk? And it's Nami, Brook, and not Pythagoras. Wait, is that Pythagoras? No, not Pythagoras. Which one is this? I forget their names sometimes. Oda is the ultimate One Piece troll. LOL. Remember how he used to draw Vegapunk before showing his face? Did Oda ever draw Vegapunk, or was that fans drawing Vegapunk? I don't remember if there was ever a Vegapunk silhouette in the story. If there is, let me know. Because I have a bad memory, stuff like that sometimes. If Oda did draw Vegapunk, let me know where I can find it. I'll take a look at it right now. There's no harm in it, right? Everyone's evacuating after all. You're not wrong there, but I still reckon you folks have got a screw loose. These translations, I think they're a bit off sometimes. Phew, this is heavy. Shall we head back? Anyways, we have Nami here with Pythagoras and Brook. Nami's pulling the number one Nami gag from day one. I hope she never drops this gag of how much she loves gold and how much she loves treasure and money. And she wants to take it. So we cut to the second floor of Building 8. Again, the middle building. And now we have Robin. We have Chopper. And we have... I'm so bad with their names. I'm so bad. I don't... Sometimes I just blank on what their names are. I know Lilith by heart, Pythagoras, Shaka, obviously, and then the rest for some reason I have to read their name, otherwise I just blank. Yep, I can replace any part of my body whenever I need. That's the future for you. I wonder, where are these Vegapunks? Those are man-made organoids. They'll be indispensable for the doctors of the future. So Chopper's excited to hear this. You can actually grow new organs. That's amazing. I thought these were Vegapunk's organs and someone cut him to pieces. You're scary. And then here, we cut back. This is the good stuff. We cut back to the command room, 4th floor, Building 8. What's going on? Luffy comes in to see what's going on. Edison, do you read me? I could hear everyone fine a second ago, and now I can't hear them anymore. And he shows Luffy all of the cameras, and each camera is being cut off one by one. They keep going out one after the other. There's something else in the lab, or there's someone else in the lab. Yeah, he did. It was more than a silhouette. He was slim and with a striped shirt. Where can I find that, Black Lemmy? Let me know where I can find that so I can look it up. Because I've seen a lot of Vegapunk art prior to his introduction, but all of the ones that I saw were fan fiction. I don't think I've ever seen. Let me see. Oda Vegapunk. Well, now it's just gonna show Vegapunk that as we know him, because now he's revealed. But let me see. Oda Vegapunk drawing. Even it's not even showing Vegapunk. It's showing Lilith and Shaka. But I think all of the ones that I saw were fan art. Let me know, Black Lemmy. 2nd floor, Building B, right side. I can't believe I get to travel the seas with you, Lady Stuss. You were at Big Mom's, right? This is Sanji got so much shit from everyone for this. Half the fan base hated this, and half loved it. I don't care. I mean, this is Sanji. We've always known this is Sanji. He's always gonna be like this with women. He's a complete simp. It's part of his character. But every character has that gag about them, right? It's like getting mad at Zoro for being stupid that he always gets lost and actually thinking that it's going to affect his character. It's just a gag, right? Like Nami with the treasure. It's just a gag. You can consider me your loyal dog. Just keep your eyes out for the Stella, silly. And we have Jinbei. And then we cut to the 3rd floor, Building C. So they're on the left side. So this is what I mean by this is good because this shows you so Building C is going to be furthest away from Building B. Building A is going to be in the middle. Whoever is on building C, whether on whatever floor, are more likely to run into each other in case they need help or support. So that's why I'd like to see these outside illustrations of where everyone is exactly. Black Lemmy says, I can't tell you the chapter, but it was a very long time ago. Like one of the first times we heard about him, it was only his upper body without a face. Are you sure? Are you 100% sure? Because, oh, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about when Caesar in Punk has when Caesar. Yeah. I know the exact image. I know the exact image you're talking about. And it's like both his arms stretched out wide. I'm not sure if he's like holding vials or anything, but Vegapunk 1. I know the exact one you're talking about. It's in Punk Hazard. Yes. It's this one right here. Yeah, it's Kuma's head. And then it's him with his arms stretched out like this, and he's wearing a striped shirt. You're right. And he looks tall here because, oh, wow. Kuma is like up to his waist. It's when they were talking about what he did to Kuma, and the picture shows Kuma is like half the size of Vegapunk here. And he's got his arms stretched out like he's like a mad scientist about to go to work. But you're right. You're absolutely right. This is nothing like the Vegapunk we know. I guess Oda always does that. Oda's always going to do that. That's the one. Yeah, that's it. Good call. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know that. That's that I forgot about that one. It's been, I want to say that was when Caesar was talking about how he used to work under Vegapunk all the way back in Punk Hazard. I could be wrong though, because it's showing Kuma, so it's got to be when they were talking about Kuma as well. But let's go back to the chapter. I'm sleepy. What kind of attack just bounces things back? Anyways, this is just showing us, they're basically just showing us who's with who. And so here we have Frankie and Usopp, which I think is a good duo. And then we have Punk number 6. Like I said, I'm bad with their names. And Lilith. That's a strong duo. Sanji and Jinbei and Stella. It's very interesting because they have Shaka, Luffy, and Zoro together, which is a very, very strong group, obviously. Especially now, when we get to the end of the chapter, we find out Shaka, Luffy, Zoro, Rob Lucci, and Kaku. If they choose to let them go. But then we also have Sanji and Jinbei. So they put the number 1 and number 2 of the crew together, and the number 3 and the number 4 of the crew together. So it's telling you there's going to be some big fights here. And I think they're doing this because Kizaru and I don't know about Saint J Garcia, but Kizaru is going to come into play with the Seraphim. So maybe Kizaru bumps into Sanji and Jinbei, honestly, because right now they gave us S-Hawk and S-Bear, and I think it was S. Who was it that bumped into? Who was it that was trying to kill Rob Lucci? It was Mihawk, Kuma, and just those two. Okay, so Mihawk and Kuma is enough. It's at least enough for them to stall Luffy and Zoro for 1 or 2 chapters, right? And Shaka, so that if Kizaru does come, he can, because he's not going to bring Kizaru into the story to not be a threat. And if he's around Luffy, he's just not going to be a threat. So if he can keep these guys holding Luffy and Zoro back, maybe Kaku and Lucci actually turn back again against them. Just enough time for Kizaru to really look like a threat, and he bumps into Sanji and Jinbei, or maybe even the weaker guys, and we get that same feeling of Kizaru that we got in Sabaody, which is going to be really hard to do now. But I think that makes more sense. Because why save Kizaru all this time just to let him bump into Luffy right when he beat Kaido? It's not going to have that same threat level to it, you know? But anyways, let's keep reading where we were. Okay, so wow, that looks bad. Yep, and they see Pythagoras. There's Pythagoras, and his head is off. So, hey, hang in there. Whoa, he's got no head. That's gory. Don't tell me it was blown off. That big boom we heard earlier was because of this. Who's there? Hey, don't shoot. Pythagoras. Pythagoras, or his head anyway. It's me, Pythagoras, or his head anyways. He's beheaded. Wow, what happened? Some kind of accident? No, this looks like an attack. It was the darnest thing. It'll sound impossible, but I know my eyes weren't playing tricks on me. Hurry up and tell us. I'm forced to wonder if we made a grave miscalculation. Spit it out already. Where's York? Didn't Edison order you to hold your horses earlier? And York right now is distracted by Bonnie. Bonnie gives her the mellow mellow or the love love. She turns to stone. So this shows us that like the theory that everyone thought that well, we already knew. Hancock, I think, already mentioned that it doesn't have to be lust. It's whatever the person that has the fruit wants it to be. So Hancock, because she's the most beautiful woman, knows lust is the best way for her to make use of that devil fruit. But I think it was said somewhere that like I don't remember where this was said, but like if Kaido had the fruit, it would be fear. Whoever feared him would turn to stone or something like that. So this confirms that S Snake is actually using cuteness. So whoever thinks she's cute, not whoever thinks she's attractive, but whoever thinks she's cute turns to stone. So back to that chapter with the Navy, it explains a lot about that now as well, right? What? A seraphim? Why are you here? What? You shouldn't be able to move on your own. I command you to stop. And she knocks them down. They all go falling down. Usopp lands head first. Lilith catches Pythagoras. Frankie lands. And they're ready for combat. They're looking up at her. She's looking down at them. Frankie grabs Usopp up. Lilith is pissed. Quit joking around. We won't stand a chance in a fight. We designed them to be the most powerful beings. Because Frankie wanted to fight them. So we designed them to be the most powerful beings. It's just more hype on top of the hype we already get on how strong their seraphim actually are. So it seems like they're very, very strong. And we go back to Command Room Building 8. Luffy, Zoro's asking Luffy to give him a hand. What's up, Zoro? They come in and we see Kuma. I'll be honest. When I first read this, because this is Zoro, and he's like screaming. He's like, Luffy, give me a hand. And Luffy comes in. He already has his swords out, ready to fight, and he wants Luffy's help. And we see Luffy shocked, Shaka shocked, and Zoro ready to go. I thought it was Kizaru. I swear to God, I thought it was Kizaru. I took like a minute before I scrolled down because I was like, if this is Kizaru, this is gonna be crazy. But it's all right. It wasn't Kizaru, but it was S-Hawk and S-Bear. Stop this immediately. Who ordered you two to move? Good. You can stop them, right? That's what you would think. They were gunning for CP0. This is interesting. This is very interesting. Let them die in cuffs would leave a bad. Letting them die in cuffs would leave a bad taste in my mouth. So Zoro's not. He's protecting them. And the fight starts, and we see Lucci and Kaku. They want us dead. Those no good seraphim scamps. Hey, Straw Hat, Zoro, how about we let bygones be bygones for now? We could form a temporary alliance. The two of us would be much more useful out of these cuffs. If they won't take my orders, then they must already be acting on a... this was earlier. And then they show us Zoro and Luffy. But hold on. If they won't take my orders, then they must already be acting on a command issued by a Vegapunk. Between the communications blackout and the barrier sealing us in, this is beginning to seem like an elaborate plan. Somebody's trying to kill us all. So this now begs a question, guys. If the Vegapunks give it different orders, who does it listen to? Does it listen to Shaka first, and then Lilith, and then number 3, and then number 4, and then number 5, and then number 6? Does it just listen to whoever gave the first command? Because Shaka's number 1, and he said this off of like knowledge. If they won't take my orders, then they must already be acting on a command issued by a Vegapunk. So I'm assuming the first Vegapunk to give it an order, it's gonna follow that order. But this is leading us off. Remember the order that they said the seraphims listened to. It was, I believe it was government agents. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it was government agents, and then after government agents, it was the Vegapunks, and then after the Vegapunks, it was the Gorosei, and then after the Gorosei, it was Vegapunk himself, who was the number 1 person. Correct me if I'm wrong. It might have been the Gorosei at number 1, but I think it was Vegapunk. And even if it was the Gorosei at number 1, that's probably a lie. It's probably Vegapunk, but he's not going to let them know that, right? That's very predictable. So it's Vegapunk, either or. And then after him, it's the Gorosei. My guess is this is Saint J Garcia. He is ordering them right now because, sure, it could be another Vegapunk, but the fact that they're making us think it's another Vegapunk, to me, rules out Vegapunk, like the other Vegapunks. And then it can't be another government agent because it's not listening to Shaka. Shaka is one of the Vegapunks. He is above any government agent. So if Lucci gave it an order and then Shaka did, it would listen to Shaka. Sentomaru was shown in the chapter right before this. So it's not Sentomaru either. And I forgot where Sentomaru ranks and all that as well. I think he's right underneath. I think it's Vegapunk, the Gorosei, Sentomaru, and then the agents. But anyways, it's not Sentomaru because we just saw Sentomaru. So I think it's Saint J Garcia. I think he's already here. I think the obvious answer of who is that shadow that cut off the camera wires, I think is the easy answer. It has to be. For once, it has to be the easy answer. It has to be Saint J Garcia because it doesn't make sense. You introduce him to the story right now, and then you show a silhouette that looks exactly like him. And we already know he's on his way, and then it's not him. And the interesting thing here too, like if you guys remember my theory on this, my theory is that Bonnie already took Vegapunk, and she might already be off the island. Probably already is off the island, and I think she's on her way to sabotage the Revolutionary Army because whatever she saw in Kuma's memories, she feels they are responsible for. Kind of like Sasuke and Itachi, and how Itachi didn't want Sasuke to see the truth because he didn't want Sasuke to blame the Leaf Village, which he knew he would. I think it's kind of the same thing with Kuma and the Revolutionaries and Bonnie. So Bonnie's on that mission right now. She took Vegapunk. So Vegapunk is ruled out of the hierarchy of who gets to give commands to the Seraphim because he's no longer around. So that would give the command to the Vegapunks unless a Gorosei member showed up. And now we're having the Seraphim, specifically of all of the Vegapunks, they're not listening to Shaka. Vegapunk number 1. I think this is because they're listening to Saint J Garcia. But then the question would be, why would Garcia want Lucci and Kaku dead? It's not because they saw Gear 5, because Gear 5 is on the wanted poster now. So everyone knows the truth about his devil fruit. I don't think it's because they disobeyed orders, because I know Akainu was mad that they disobeyed his orders, but I don't think that's it too. Maybe it's got something to do with the fact that he's about to come in here and show us some kind of power or some kind of persona or something about the Gorosei that no one aside from the Gorosei are supposed to know within the Marines. So immediately he's thinking, these guys, if I'm here, if I need to come now and take action, these guys can't witness what I'm about to do. These guys have the same organization as me. It could be something like that. Ringo says Gorosei 1, Punk 2. Okay, so Gorosei. So thank you, Ringo. So Gorosei is number 1. Vegapunk is number 2. Sentomaru is number 3. Okay, I don't believe that. I believe the fact that that's what it said. Of course, I believe you in telling me that, but I don't believe that Vegapunk. At the end of the day, we know Vegapunk created them. Vegapunk is the one that created the Seraphim, so they can order him around and be like, "Hey, you better make us the end all be all. That we get the final say." And he'll be like, "All right, sure." But remember, this guy planned. He always knew they were gonna come for his head. He already planned ahead and outsmarted Rob Lucci and Kaku and everyone else. He's not dumb. He knew what they were coming to do. He's the smartest man in One Piece. Do you really think he's going to give the strongest weapons that they created to be the strongest people on the planet? Do you really think he's going to give the key, the master key, to the Gorosei, who we already know he eventually predicted were going to come after him? I don't think so. I think the reality of it, and this might end up being a plot twist in the future of the arc, the reality is Vegapunk can give it an order directly in front of that Gorosei member, and they're gonna listen to Vegapunk. I still think that's the real way, that the real hierarchy. But okay, So the story told us that it's the Gorosei, and then Punk, and then Sentomaru. And again, this is just my headcanon. I'm not saying this is the way it is. I'm not claiming this to be a fact. I'm just saying this is what I think is going to go down. Thank you guys for liking the stream. I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot. And then we have XAGaro says, aren't Bonnie and Vegapunk in the same Paw Paw room? Well, that's a flashback. We don't know where they are now. That was a flashback. The chapter where we saw her looking at Kuma's memories was a flashback. So some time has passed since they were in that room. I don't think they're in that room right now. I'm not even sure they're still on the island. I think Bonnie has already come to the decision of what she wants to do and who she wants to take vengeance against after seeing Kuma's flashback. And like I said, I think it's the Revolutionary Army, and I think she took Vegapunk hostage and is leaving the island on some kind of plan to take down the Revolutionary Army. It's going to be a big thing that's going to end up coming full circle with the end of the series and the final war. That's what I think. Black Lemmy says, I don't think Bonnie took Vegapunk because we saw her watching Kuma's memories at the chapter Shaka said Vegapunk disappeared. We saw her watching Kuma's memories at the same chapter Shaka said Vegapunk disappeared. But again, that was a flashback. Her looking at Kuma's memories was a flashback, right? Or am I mistaken? Let me go back. What chapter was that, guys? Do you guys remember what chapter that was? The Weight of Memory. Okay. So we have here, he finds her. Yeah, this is regular panels, regular pages. She's about to go in and we cut, of course. So this isn't the one where we see. Okay. So was it 1074? I think it might have been 1074. Let me see. Mark the 3rd. Sentomaru, blah 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 blah. Zoro, Rob Lucci. Yes, here. Okay, yeah. So it seems to me that this is a flash. Okay, so lab interior. So this is chapter 1074, right after Zoro sits down with Luffy and Luffy's exhausted. We see Kaku's face. We see Lucci's face. And then we see lab interior power room. And then we get the lines on the bubble, which indicates a flashback. So, and it's Vegapunk saying, Bonnie, don't touch that. So whenever she was looking at the memories was a flashback from chapter 1074. Bonnie, so Black Lemmy says, Bonnie is, Vegapunk isn't anymore. I'm not sure if it was a flashback, but in any case, Vegapunk wasn't there anymore when she watched the memories of Kuma. Well, we just didn't see Vegapunk in the shot, right? Like, we saw her looking at Kuma's memories, but again, it starts off with Vegapunk saying, Bonnie, don't touch that. So in the pages where we see her looking at Kuma's memories, it starts off with him saying, Bonnie, don't touch that in flashback mode, and then shut it, get out of here. To me, okay, maybe I'm wrong. I could very well be wrong. I took this as Oda cutting back maybe a few minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes before and showing us what happened when Bonnie saw Kuma's memories. Because if he wanted to show us this in real time, he would have just showed us it in real time. He wouldn't have cut. He wouldn't have cut from it in chapter 1072 right before she went in. He would have just showed it to us. But he didn't. He cut away from it and then came back to it in a flashback, which I feel like he's done many times with things. That's the way I saw it. So when we're reading this, Vegapunk and Bonnie could be anywhere, both of them, because a lot of time has passed. That's how I see it. Maybe one of the Gorosei is a genius scientist and was involved in the Pacifista development. Maybe, but even if they were, at the end of the day, everyone gives credit to Vegapunk, right? So if the Gorosei did help, people are still giving the props to Vegapunk. Like, he is the man that did something that no one else can do, and it's with everything. Even Morgan said it. He was like, they can't go after Vegapunk because everyone values so much what Vegapunk can do. So if other people could do what Vegapunk could do, then people wouldn't value Vegapunk as much as they did. And I'm talking about the Marines, pirates, warlords, regular citizens, Big News Morgans, everybody. So he can create things that no one else can create, and I think that portrayal that he gets in that sense, I feel like it would be weird if someone else now helped him create this thing, especially if it wasn't one of his former Mads partners, like Caesar, sure, Queen, Judge, but a Garcia member, I feel like that would be random. I don't know. That's just me. We could both be right. It depends on how the timeline goes. It can be Oda cutting back or not. No way to know for sure. Yeah, I agree. I agree with Black Lemmy. Sometimes Oda is really like really it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell if it's a flashback or what comes first. Like a lot of times it's because at the end of the day we're reading a manga, right? We're not watching the anime. So I've been reading manga for a little bit of time now. Since I caught up to One Piece, so that was the first manga I started reading. So I want to say like 8 years now, and I still can't tell some things with Oda. I still can't tell. Like I'll have my assumptions like this, but I won't look too deep into it. So then someone else might give me a different perspective, like you just did right now, Lemmy, and it'll make me think in a way I never thought. Like, oh wait, was that not a flashback? Because I just immediately, to me, my brain, I read this and I just think it's a flashback because of the way it starts. And I think Oda is showing us what they already did. But you could be right, where this is what's going on right now. Because aside from the Bonnie don't touch that, everything else will make sense to be in flashback form because it's Kuma's flashback, right? Like shut up, like shut it, get out of here. Kuma crying, then him sniffing, all this stuff. This makes sense to have those lines across it because it's his flashback. But to me, the part with Bonnie, don't touch that. That part that he put, that one part, tells me that it's a flashback. That's just me, anyways. Yeah, Vegapunk is the One Piece scientist, not Gorosei. Exactly. Yeah. It has to be Vegapunk because it just takes away from his entire character, and we've been lied to. If someone else can duplicate what Vegapunk can do, then his entire character is pointless, right? So, what I'm thinking we're going to see from here is we're definitely going to see within the next one, maybe 2 chapters, we're definitely going to have to see Sanjay Garcia and Kizaru. I think Garcia is confirmed already there because we see the camera. And I think if Oda doesn't make that Garcia, you either have to have a really good explanation for that. Otherwise, you're walking on eggshells there because you practically drew the man. You drew him. That silhouette is very, very clearly in his shape. So I know a lot of people are saying it's gonna be S Bat, as in Moria's Seraphim, because Moria has to have a Seraphim. All the other original warlords do. But the issue with that is that he draws it in the exact shape of Saint J. Garcia right when he's on his way. So we know what you're intending to do there. How are you going to explain that it looks exactly like Saint J. Garcia? So I think it's Saint J. Garcia, and I think he's probably going to show up in the next chapter, the next 2 chapters. I think he might come across Luffy and Zoro, and especially if it's Luffy and Zoro and Shaka and Lucci and Kaku, I think they can deal with S-Hawk and S-Bear. But then if they run in to Sanjay Garcia, he's going to have to go all out. And I don't know if we're at that point in the story yet where we're going to see a Gorosei go all out. I don't know if we're there. I doubt it personally. I don't think we're going to see a Gorosei go all out until the final war. Not a single one of them. So we're probably going to have to maneuver through this arc avoiding him going all out or even fighting, which is going to leave Kizaru. And like I said, I think Kizaru is going to bump into Sanji and Jinbei. There's a reason it's Sanji and Jinbei and Stussy. All 3 of them. Because those are 3 of the strongest characters in that alliance right now. Like, that could have been any group of people, but it's not. I want to say the next 3 strongest after Luffy and Zoro. I want to say, of the entire group. Perhaps even including Bonnie. So, that's a good crew to fight Kizaru, 3 against 1. You got Stussy, who's a clone of a former Rocks pirate. We saw what she did to Lucci. We saw what she did to Kaku. And we know she has Sea Stone, right? Kizaru, a Devil Fruit user, light at the speed of light. She has that little Sea Stone thing. Who knows? It might come in handy. Then you have Sanji. Of course, we all know Sanji and Kizaru, the talks in the community for the past 10 years now of that fight happening. And then you have Jinbei. And that's going to be an interesting trio of chemistry, right? The chemistry with that trio can be fantastic. So I think Kizaru is going to fight that trio. I think St. J. Garcia might bump into Luffy, but if he bumps into Luffy, I think it's just going to be a conversation. I think he's going to be like, listen, we need to talk. And because even though I think the Gorosei are going to be like Yonko level, I honestly believe each one of them will be Yonko level, or at least Admiral level. I still think that their strength isn't their strongest suit. It's their level heads, the level headedness, and their ability to reason. That's why they are the top guys, right? Because Akainu, look at him. He's hot headed. So I think he's going to come up to Luffy and he's going to want to reason with Luffy. He's going to be like, listen, we need to come to like some kind of agreement here. And then who knows where it can go from there. Ringo says, you downplay Kizaru way too much. I don't, okay, when I'm saying Kizaru is going to fight Sanji, Jinbei, and Stussy, I don't think they stand a chance against him. Like, I don't think they're going to beat him at all. There's no way. But you can't tell me that a Sanji now, with all the power-ups he just went through in Wano, Jinbei, who's practically equal to Sanji, he's right there with Sanji. Oh, okay, not practically equal, but he's right there with Sanji, higher bounty than Sanji. And Stussy, who just took out Lucci and Kaku in one shot. You can't tell me the three of them together can't hold Kizaru back. Because an old Rayleigh could. So unless you're telling me that those three guys can't deal with an old Rayleigh, I don't know. I don't know about that. It's going to be Luffy versus Kizaru. No. Because then Kizaru is going to lose. And Kizaru has to be protected. And Luffy has to be protected. This isn't the arc for an admiral to go down. This isn't even an arc for an admiral to bleed, to draw blood. I'm telling you, like, this arc isn't going to be that kind of an arc. So Kizaru is not going to be in real danger here. Neither is Luffy. Neither is St. J. Garcia. So Oda is going to maneuver things in a way where there's a reason there's 3 buildings right now. And there's like 10 different groups. Not all the strong characters are going to bump into each other. So it's going to allow for guys like Kizaru and Luffy to be protected and not have to bump into each other and fight. Because if they do, there's only one way that fight is ending. Kizaru is going to lose. And unless he does what he did with Lucci with Kizaru, he's not going to do that. By the end of this arc, Kizaru will still have that same prestige that he does all throughout the story until he actually fights all out. So that's why I think he's going to bump into guys that he can actually be a real threat against. Because he's going to be... If he bumps into those 3 that I said, they're going to be the underdogs. The odds are going to be in his favor, which is good for storytelling. I think Gorosei are hockey monsters. Hockey monsters or Devil Fruit monsters? I agree. It's one or the other. One or the other. I'm not sure which one. Yes, Kizaru will lose. Why do you think Kizaru will lose in this arc? What can come out of that in the story? Because you could be right. Kizaru could lose. I'm just telling you guys my perspective. I don't see a benefit in the story for an arc like Egghead to have a character as strong as Kizaru lose. To me, that's just a waste of Kizaru, right? Like, even if... Okay, Oda protected Green Bull at the end of Wano. And to this day, people are still saying, well, Green Bull left because it was the whole red hair pirates. Well, Green Bull took down King and Queen, even if they were injured, right? Like, he has his things that made him look good, and the things that made him look bad, you can still argue. So Oda protected Green Bull, in a sense. I don't see how he's just going to leave Kizaru to rot here like that. Garo says, if Law can fight Blackbeard, who is a Yonko, then it should be possible for Zoro and Sanji to fight an Admiral, but I don't think that Kizaru will be the only Admiral who will show up. Who else do you think will show up? Because we already saw Akainu's reaction, and it was Kizaru's on his way. And then we see Kizaru go. But then again, right after that, we see Kizaru's on the ship with a Gorosei. So maybe Greenville just took Weevil though. Fujitora Fujitora has been quiet for a while. So if Fujitora shows up, I don't know, man. That would be crazy. I love this arc because there's so many ways we can go with this arc. Black Lemmy says, I saw a theory video saying Luffy is going to get captured. I could see that, like with Seastone or something. Like Kizaru has the speed of light, so maybe he puts it on him like speed. Okay, but the issue is, you gotta now get away. You gotta capture Luffy in front of Zoro, in front of Shaka, and then you have to leave with Luffy on an island with his entire crew, who are now super OP, with 6 Vegapunks. Vegapunk himself, potentially Rob, Lucci, and Kaku. Sentomaru, who's kind of on their side now for the sake of Vegapunk. It's just the odds are Luffy's got a whole gang with him now. It's not the same as it was back then. Like a character like Kizaru can't just show up by himself and pull shit like that anymore. Like he did in Sabaody. He can't. Maybe with 1 or 2 guys there, but with the crew there, you just can't do that. Like, it's a Yonko crew now. You have to keep that in mind. We are now a Yonko crew. So one admiral isn't going to come snatch a Yonko in front of his crew and leave. I just don't see that happening. I know, kind of a stretch, but could happen. I mean, it's not a stretch. In this arc, anything can happen. With certain arcs, there's always a very, like with Wano, with Whole Cake, with Dressrosa, there's very specific ways we know the story's going to go. And then there's wild theories that we have, like ZKK, or like, what were some interesting theories back in Dressrosa and Whole Cake Island? I know with Whole Cake Island, we like all the theories of who Sanji's family really were. There were the killer theories, there were the Gorosei guy theories, but we have an idea of where the story's going to go. With this arc, we don't. We have no idea where the story can go from here. You tell me one person, I don't care if it's YouTube, if it's Reddit, if it's Twitch, if it's someone you know in real life, you tell me one person that 4 or 5 weeks ago would have said a Gorosei is going to show up to Egghead. That a Gorosei member will show up to Egghead. One person. I don't think a single person would have predicted that. But it's happened. So anything can happen in this arc. I'm just saying I don't see that happening from a power scaling and also narrative perspective, because the narrative of what it means to be a Yonko crew, there's a portrayal that comes along with that now. And I'm not saying they have to be portrayed as crazy strong. You can always have things where the crew are split up like they are now, and this can happen. But at the end of the day, they're a Yonko crew. They're gonna look incompetent if Luffy gets captured that easily. It's hard to believe that a crew that can pull off a raid on Onigashima that has been anticipated for 20 years, people have waiting for 20 years, they pull that off, lose their captain just like that, right? Admirals will be opposing many factions like the Revolutionary Army. Admirals will be defeated in this final saga. But Luffy is Oda's number 1. Luffy has to be the first one to do any major miracle. What do you mean by that, Ringo? Admirals will be opposing many factions like Revolutionary Army. Yeah, at the end, I agree. They'll be fighting Dragon, Sabo, some Straw Hats maybe. Admirals will be defeated in the final saga. But Luffy is Oda's number 1. Luffy has to be the first one to do any major miracle. What do you mean by Luffy has to be the one to do a major miracle? Black Lemmy, yeah, that's why I love this arc. Same. I'm almost at the point now where I want to say this is my favorite post-time skip arc. I'm almost there. Enies Lobby, hitting St. Charlos, escape Impel Down, defeat a Shichibukai. So you're talking about burning down the flag, punching the Celestial Dragon, escaping Impel Down, defeating Crocodile, defeating Dolphy. Okay, so but Luffy's number was needs to be 1, 2. I'm not sure I understand your point though, and what is it you're trying to say? Admirals will be opposing many factions. Luffy has to be the one to. So you're saying Luffy has to be the one to take down. He has to be the first person in the story to take down an admiral. Is that what you're saying? So like Kizaru has to go down now because the first admiral to lose has to lose to Luffy. Because I can see that. That makes sense. But even though I don't agree with that personally, I can understand that point. I can definitely understand that point. Because that is a very good point, actually. That Luffy is always the first. Even the first... Well, no, actually, the irony is the first Yonko to go down. One down in Marineford. The second one down to Law and Kid. And then the third one down to Luffy. So, yeah. So, okay. So, that's your point. But, yeah, think about that. The first Yonko lost to the Marines. The second Yonko lost to Law and Kid. And then the third lost to Luffy. So, because I remember. I don't know if you guys remember. That those chapters in between Big Mom's defeat and Kaido's defeat. Where it was like, yo, Kid and Law defeated a Yonko. We knew Luffy was going to do it, but he hadn't done it yet. And they held that. They were the only people in the series that could straight up say, because even Whitebeard, no one person can claim Whitebeard's defeat. I don't care. Not Blackbeard, not his gang, not Akainu, not the 90,000 Marines that stabbed him, shot him, not Squirtle. Too many people were involved in that. But Law and Kid can straight up say, we together, just the two of us, took down a Yonko. And they did it before Luffy. And that was special. That was a very special thing. So, sometimes Oda is willing to give the spotlight to other people as well. It all depends on this. Someone can take down an admiral before Luffy if what Luffy's going to do is bigger than that. Like, Luffy to me is already bigger than an admiral. So, if he beats an admiral, it's not going to be so big because he's going to be walking into the fight the favorite already. He's the favorite. Luffy against any admiral right now, Luffy's the favorite. So, that's not a final arc fight. Final arc fights, Luffy is not the favorite. Right? Katakuri. How's he going to beat this guy? It's almost impossible. Anything you can do, I can do better. Kaido. I don't even need to say. I think we all know Kaido was like the obstacles Oda had to put in Kaido's way to make that defeat happen. Rob Lucci, his Devil Fruit, the way he one-shotted, he completely dealt with Luffy and Zoro with ease. He was the favorite going into that fight. And now, Crocodile beat him twice. Luffy's big fights, he's always the underdog because it's the only way to make the story interesting. Which is why I always say Blackbeard's going to kill Shanks to get stronger, get that buff, and he's going to get a third Devil Fruit. Or he's going to get some kind of major upgrade because he has to go into the fight with Luffy, the stronger of the two, which I think right now he is not. I think Luffy's stronger. So that's what I would say to that. Black Lemmy says, I'm already there. Best post-time skip arc for sure. Even Wano can't compare. Black Lemmy, take this W, bro. Take this W. For me, okay, you know what, guys? Let's rank. Let's rank post-time skip arcs right now. All of us. So, my opinions are going to be a little controversial because I love Punk Hazard. I love Punk Hazard and Thriller Bark more than the average person. Those two arcs. And I think Whole Cake Island is way better than Wano. Way better. So, I rank it way above Wano. So, for me, so we have Fishman Island. We have Punk Hazard. We have Dressrosa. We have Zoe. Whole Cake. Wano. Egghead. 7 arcs. 1 Whole Cake Island. For me. 1 is Whole Cake Island. 2 is Egghead. And Egghead is getting close. And Egghead is already better than Wano for me. And I'm not hating on Wano. Whatever negative feelings I had toward Wano has honestly passed. It's already passed. Like, the way it ended wasn't the best, but I can look back now and be like, yo, it had some good moments. Oden's flashback, Roger versus Whitebeard, Zoro versus King, Luffy versus Kaido, Roof Piece. Some of the things we got in Act 1. Like, I remember that feeling when Ashura Doji fought Jack. Was like, what the hell? This guy is strong. Some of it was really good. And then from a story perspective, from a world building perspective, Yamato, her flashback. Some of the things that we got, like with Ace in the flashback. There were some good things there, but it didn't end well. It didn't tie that knot at the end well. So it was kind of all over the place for me. But I'll put it third. I'll put it, Whole Cake Island is the best post-time skip arc for me. I can still say that comfortably right now with my chest up. Egghead is drawing near, and it is better than Wano. Wano is third. Dressrosa is fourth. Punk Hazard is fifth, and Zoe is sixth. And we don't talk about Fishman Island. We don't on this channel. We don't talk about Fishman Island, guys. We don't talk about it. Big Mom don't count. She was not knocked out, and she was gonna come back. No, Big Mom was done. Big Mom was done. Like the attacks that she took at the end, she was done. I know she made that comment, but that's just her coping. Like her being like, if you guys think this is enough to beat me, that's just her coping because they knocked her down. Like they beat her. If she had any more, she would come back. Now with the bombs and stuff like that, that's just Oda's way of making sure there's no excuse that she's done. But then when she comes back, there's still that, hey, well, there was a bomb, right? But in reality, come on, they beat her. It got to the point where she was like scared of Law's attacks, and she was like, no, don't hit me with that again. Look at Punk Hazard image. Egghead gonna look like that. What do you mean look at Punk Hazard image? Oh, you mean like Law, like the Admiral's fighting and the way it looked at the end? If Egghead looks like this by the end, that will be interesting. It will be one half light, Kizaru, and it'll be half the island will be light and the other half will be moss. Half green, half yellow. Facts, Whole Cake Island is better. Yep. Whole Cake Island, to me, it's pretty easy to say Whole Cake Island is the best arc post time skip. At least post time skip. Like, especially if you read it week to week. I don't know if you guys read it week to week, but reading Whole Cake Island week to week was just like, and I think it was the first arc that I read from start to finish week to week. So it was like amazing experience. But even if it wasn't, even if I binged it, I feel like just the stuff with Katakuri, with Judge, with Sanji's flashback, with Sanji and Luffy and that speech. That is my favorite moment in One Piece ever. Easily my favorite moment in One Piece is the speech that Luffy gave to Sanji, where he's like, I with each kick you gave me. That chapter, I still remember exactly where I was when some of those chapters in Whole Cake Island dropped. Like the chapter where Luffy told Sanji, I'm gonna wait here until you, because you're my cook. I'm not gonna eat anything, and every time you kick me, I know it hurts you. I remember exactly where I was, exactly what time of day it was when I read that chapter, because I almost cried. And then when it came to the anime, I cried. And then I remember the pudding plot twist. The pudding plot twist when Sanji saw the real side of pudding. I remember the feeling I got when I saw that, and just the hurt. You know what Whole Cake Island did so well? Sanji is not even one of my favorite characters. He is okay, but I like Zoro better. I like Luffy better. So he's not like my top two favorite Straw Hats, and maybe even like sometimes I really like Frankie sometimes, but Whole Cake Island made you feel more for Sanji than you would ever feel for any other character aside from Luffy post-war arc. Like the only time I felt for actually no, I'll be honest with you guys. I felt more pain for Sanji in Whole Cake Island, especially when he was crying and Luffy was giving him that speech saying, I know it hurts you more than it hurts me. I felt for Sanji more than I felt for Luffy when he was about to give up on being Pirate King because Ace died. Honest to God, I'm not even kidding, because that was the only time I ever cried watching One Piece. Was Luffy and Sanji's speech was the only time I ever cried. That's how powerful Whole Cake Island and the writing of Whole Cake Island drew you to a character. Now I can't even imagine for characters where Sanji was their favorite character. And I remember Oda said this is going to be the year of Sanji. It was, and it gave us one of the best writings for a character, focused specifically in one arc, that we will probably ever see in One Piece. That's why I love Whole Cake Island. And then obviously there's the stuff with the chaos with the wedding party. Like, you know, every arc has that final thing that makes it go like big, like Birdcage. Though as soon as the wedding was crashed, Onigashima and raising up the island, all these things to me, or like the final raid, I should say, the wedding crash was bigger, more hype, more chaotic, more intense, more fun to read on a week-to-week basis than the Onigashima raid. Straight up. Straight up. Those chapters, like that chapter with Brooke crushing the picture, man, I could talk about Whole Cake Island for days. I don't want to get too deep into it. I honestly love Whole Cake Island, guys. I think some of the places that Wano missed, Whole Cake Island hit perfectly. And you want to know the irony? The funniest part about it is towards the later stages of Whole Cake Island, all I kept thinking to myself was, hurry up, let's get to Wano. I want to get to Wano. Because Oda kept hyping it up so much back then. So much. So even in the peak of Katakuri versus Luffy versus Katakuri, the best fight in One Piece to date, I was enjoying it. But I'm telling you guys, I thought Wano was going to be twice as good as Marineford based off the hype that Oda and the editors kept putting on it. And remember, it was supposed to come out, I think, like 2015 or 2016, and they kept delaying it year after year after year, and then it finally came out 2018. We started Wano. So we were supposed to start it like 2 years before that. So that, along with all the hype, I was just like, okay, I'm loving this Whole Cake Island, but I want Wano. And it turns out Whole Cake Island was better anyways. Okay, let me read these. I'm a little bit behind here. I'm already there. Best post-time skip arc for sure. Even Wano can't compete. Absolutely. Big Mondo can't look at Punk Hazard. For me, it's easy. It's opposing order of chapters, except maybe Whole Cake and Wano getting switched, but not even sure. So you're saying it's opposing order of chapters. I personally find Drama 66 stuff and Reverie a little overrated, but it's only my opinion. I really prefer everything we got in Egghead than anything else post-time skip. I never really saw any Drama 66 hype. I saw Whole Cake Island hype, but I don't think anyone really hypes Drama 66 stuff like that. Reverie, come on. Reverie was like 4 chapters and gave us like 5 or 6 of the best moments in One Piece. With Emu being revealed. The Emu being revealed is like I don't know if you guys understand. When One Piece is done, there's gonna be like less than 10 panels that are gonna stand the test of time. That as soon as we see that panel, we're gonna remember how that panel broke the internet. The final panel in 1073 with Luffy and his hair and the smoke coming out of his mouth. Joy Boy has arrived. The final panel of 1074 with Luffy covering his eyes and laughing in his Gear 4. Emu at the end of that chapter and what it meant to see Emu and to see those eyes. Shanks, I'm here to stop the war. These are panels that are going to be like remembered years after One Piece is done because they changed the game of One Piece forever. And I think everything in Reverie changed the game. From Shanks and what he did there, to Emu, to Sabo and a few good men versus the Admirals. All of that stuff was so good. So Reverie hype, I absolutely understand. I don't count Reverie as an arc, but if I were to count Reverie as an arc, it is the best arc in post-time skip. Without a doubt. Whole Cake Island can't even compare to Reverie. But that's not fair because Reverie was like 4 chapters of basically everything else going on in the world aside from Wano. So it's easy to do that. Wano is bigger than post-Marineford. Is bigger than Marineford. Before I finish that, thank you for saying the post-war. I'm assuming you mean the ASL flashback. I'm assuming. Like the ASL flashback and then the stuff with the Don beating up Garb and all that stuff. If you're talking about that, thank you for saying that is better than Marineford itself, because I think this is such a rare take and a take that is kind of controversial that I've always had, where the number one thing I enjoyed the most in One Piece, in my entire time watching One Piece, what I enjoyed the most was the ASL flashback. Ace, Sabo, and Luffy's flashback. I think Oda placing it there, right where he placed it, right after Ace's death, is one of the reasons why he's the best mangaka, because that was peak timing. It's like, we know this character, we see him die, and then Oda's like, here's 20 or so chapters of him. I forget how long it was, where you're gonna see so much more of him than you've ever seen before. You're gonna see him bond with Luffy. You're gonna see him bond with Sabo. You're gonna see him have such a great time. And I don't have to show you anything bad after this. This can end happily because I've already showed you guys him dying. And then so it's like if you watch a character and then you watch them die, to me I don't get the same feeling as watching them die that I feel like we're supposed to get. Like when I don't feel the way Luffy feels. But when you show us after his death, Ace, and everything that Ace really was and what he meant to Luffy, then I feel like I lost Ace too. After the ASL flashback. That's why I love it so much too. But anyways, he says Wano is better than post Marineford. It's better than Marineford. It's better than Whole Cake. Is better than Enies Lobby. Whole Cake is better than Enies Lobby. I don't know about that, but fair take. Enies Lobby is better than the Reverie. Is better than Dressrosa. Is better than Sabaody, for real. Wano should be at the back of that list, and I'm not even like hating. Like honestly, you're talking about post Marineford, Whole Cake, Enies Lobby, Reverie, Dressrosa. Okay, Dressrosa. Aside from Dressrosa, okay, and Sabaody. I'll give it that. I'll give Wano that. Wano should be in front of everything except. It should be behind everything except Dressrosa and Sabaody. But that's not a bad take. Best arc ever, Skypiea, though, not even joking. Okay, Black Lemmy. Let me ask you this, and be honest. Don't lie. Don't lie to me. Are you only saying that Skypiea is... Okay, did you think Skypiea was the best arc immediately after you finished Skypiea? Be honest, because I feel like 99% of people that say Skypiea is the best arc say it's the best arc because after post-time skip and all this stuff, years and decades later, they can go back and see how much was revealed. And I still say to this day, Skypiea is one of the worst arcs in One Piece, in my humble opinion, of course. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. To me, it's one of the worst arcs in One Piece, and I say that because I don't care how many things you can tie in together. If when you're watching that arc in real time, you're not fully enjoying it to a strong degree. And a lot of people agree that at the very least, the first half or two of the first 3/3, like the first 60-70% of Skypiea was boring as hell. Like it had its fun moments, but overall it was just boring. And no amount of like coming back to it and realizing that this connected to this, that connected to that, no amount of that changes the fact that in the initial watch through it was boring. So to me, that doesn't go back and change how good an arc was. It just, if anything, you can rate it on a high scale in terms of foreshadowing. But I wouldn't say it's a great arc because of that. But that's just me. If you enjoyed the arc when you're watching it, then then what I'm saying doesn't occur to you. I'm not talking about your experience with it though. No, I was a Skypiea simp as soon as Enel appeared. I love Enel as a villain, and not only because I love. Okay, then fair. Then that's fair. That's fair. But I think you're on the rare side of things because most people that love Skypiea love it in hindsight, and I don't think that's a fair reason to. You can't love something in hindsight. That means you didn't love it originally. But let me read the rest of these. Black Lemmy agreed. Straw Hat searching for gold. Skypiea equals adventure. Yeah, Emu reveal is high on that list. True. Emu reveal is one of the most iconic panels. I feel like I caught up to One Piece during Luffy versus Doflamingo. So anything before that, I can't really tell you the effect it had on the community. Because like even like Shanks stopping the war at Marineford, I know I mentioned that, but I can just tell like sure it was great, but I didn't really experience that. Like I can't imagine reading that the week it came out. So I'm just saying the ones that I know that I can recall the feeling of myself and the talks within the community. And that Emu chapter, obviously the Luffy Gear 5, those two broke the internet more than anything else that I can think of. Pre-time skip, I'm sure a few of those did that as well, but these are going to be iconic. Even when One Piece is done, trust me. Emu's reveal is going to be iconic. Not only that, but there is so much lore introduced and foreshadowing Skypiea. That's very true. That is very true. I think that Fujitora will go to Egghead Island too, because he was the main reason for the abolishment of the 7 warlords and the sea system. 7 warlords of the sea system. Also, 1 admiral is not enough for our Yonko crew. Uh, you know what, Garo? I absolutely agree with your reasoning. And if Fujitora did show up, I feel like it would make sense because of those reasons. But, and again, like I said earlier on in the stream, Fujitora has been quiet for a long time now, guys. So it would make sense for him to show up. It would also make sense for Smoker to show up, because the last time we saw Smoker, he was with Fujitora, and who was it in relation to? Who were they going to see? Vegapunk. We've seen Fujitora since then, but not Smoker. So any of those two can show up. And Fujitora showing up will help the dynamic of the arc, because an arc can't be good unless there is a threat level to it. The Straw Hats need to feel threatened. We need to feel threatened for them, I should say. And that can't happen with just Kizaru. But the issue is now Saint J Garcia Saturn is here. So obviously we have no idea how strong Gorosei can be. They can be weaker than Usopp. They can be stronger than Kaido. We don't know. But I think it's safe to assume they're strong. And if they're strong, him along with Kizaru, I think is already enough now for that major threat. You could throw in Fujitora as well. Especially, like you said, he was the one that helped abolish the warlord system. And he was kind of the reason for the Seraphim. Because I know he wasn't the reason for the Seraphim, but maybe we know that they were working on the SSG, and we know they were working on special projects, but they weren't intending to shut down the warlords until Fujitora helped. Fujitora is the reason they shut this down. So my headcanon is like, they already knew they wanted to create strong weapons, but when Fujitora came to them with the idea of removing the warlords, they probably decided to make these weapons direct replicas of the warlords, because we're going to abolish the warlords now. Like, them making the warlords replicas means they already knew they were going to abolish the warlords, right? That's the way I see it. So I don't necessarily think Fujitora is going to come, but if he did, I think it would be sick. But Fujitora, Kizaru, and Saint J Garcia Saturn might be a bit too much, which is good, actually. That's good, because we need a challenge, right? And like, if Lucci and Kaku team up with Zoro, Luffy, and everyone else there, then we have a fight on our hands. Then we have an arc. Now we have an arc. I'm telling you guys, Egghead might be like, because I'm still under the impression it's going to be a shorter arc, but let's say this is going to be a long arc. Let's say this is going to be a 60, 70, 80 chapter arc. If that is the case, this might end up being the top 5, top 3 arc of all time in One Piece. It might. Like, it's really, really good pacing. Very good pacing. Chaz Turner. Welcome, Chaz Turner. Chaz Turner says, nobody liked Skypiea when it first came out. I was alone saying I liked it and was interested in it the whole time. I knew throughout the entire arc that it was important and going to be significant. Okay, but did you like it because you knew these things were going to be important and significant? Or did you genuinely enjoy the arc watching it? Like, when I say enjoy, of course, we all enjoy everything in one. I enjoy everything in One Piece, but I can confidently say Skypiea was one of the arcs I enjoyed the least in time watching it. Aside from Fisherman Island, I enjoyed Thriller Bark way more than that. Punk Hazard way more than Skypiea. Arlong Park, Baratier, Logtown, Alabasta, Dressrosa, Whole Cake. I would say Zoe is down there as well. Like, Zoe I probably enjoyed less than Skypiea, but that's just me. Everyone has their things that they really like about One Piece. Like, there's the lore, there's the world building, there's your favorite characters, there's power scaling and epic fights. So everyone has their thing. And if you like lore, you're gonna love Skypiea and Zoe. I like lore, but I don't like lore in that sense. I like lore in like the sense of like what would be a good... I like lore in the sense of like Oden's flashback. Oden's flashback had a lot of lore. At the end of Oden's flashback, the One Piece, stuff like that. Even like just Roger and Whitebeard and seeing that tie in. Now we understand more of that story and we understand more of Roger's Pirate King's journey. his journey to being Pirate King. We understand that Whitebeard actually had a role to play. Not only was Whitebeard not an obstacle, but he had a role to play in it. We see the One Piece is not the One Piece, but Laugh Tale is a message from Joy Boy, and we realize that Joy Boy actually left something on Laugh Tale. We didn't know that prior to that. We thought Roger left everything there, but Joy Boy left something even prior to Roger. That's the kind of lore that I like. W says, I think Wano's misunderstood deeply. I honestly believe in a few years, niggas will switch up, see how peak it is, but W for understanding post-war. Yes, okay. I think there's two people. There's two sides. There's two types of people with Wano. There's people who started watching One Piece either after Wano or during Wano, who weren't necessarily there when Oda was hyping it up to be better than Marineford and was mentioning it every single week for years during Whole Cake Island. It was like Oda or his editors will make some kind of comment about Wano. Get ready for Wano. You guys aren't ready for Wano. Wano's going to be special. Wano this, Wano that. Constantly throughout 2016, throughout 2017, and throughout the first half of 2018, it was Wano this, Wano that. To the point where, like I said earlier, myself and many, many other people in the peak of Katakuri versus Luffy were like, let's get to Wano. We have to get to Wano. Come on, like, let's hurry this up. Because it was like we were expecting something better than Marineford. And another reason I blame Wano that, like, man, if you had just not hyped it up like that, I would have enjoyed the end of Whole Cake Island even more. And I'm not saying I didn't. I really did. But I wasn't fully in the moment of the ending of Whole Cake Island, because I want to say by the time Big Mom started starving, I was checked out. And I wasn't checked out because it was boring. I was checked out because I was like, yo, it's been like 3 years, and I've been waiting for Wano for years now. Oda has been saying this is going to be the best arc in One Piece, and I want to see it. Not to mention all the hype behind Kaido and all this. And I thought Zoro was going to have a much bigger role to play, because, again, there were a lot of theories prior to Wano. Not just ZKK, but like the year of Zoro, because Whole Cake Island was called the year of Sanji, right? 2016, I think, was like the year of Sanji. So we were all saying like the year of Zoro. People were saying Zoro versus the Shogun, because, again, we didn't know who the Shogun was going to be at the time. And it was like, one of the things that was so cool about Wano is that it had two major villains. Now, if you watched Wano without knowing this, you would have already been under the idea that it's just Orochi, who doesn't really count. So you only see Kaido. But if you've been waiting for Wano for years before Wano started, you already had an idea in your mind that there's going to be Kaido, and then there's going to be the Shogun of Wano, who I think we all thought was like as strong as Oden. And a lot of us thought Zoro was going to fight him towards the end of Wano. So then you have Zoro versus the Shogun. It's going to be epic. Next best thing to Zoro versus Mihawk. And then you're going to have Luffy versus Kaido. Man, like, those were the discussions pre-Wano. And then you have the people that watched Wano that didn't necessarily have these expectations. Or the people that might be starting One Piece today, or maybe even haven't started One Piece yet and start in the future. Their experience with Wano is going to be a little bit different, because they're not going to have all this expectations for it. So if they say Wano is fantastic, it is to them, and that's 100% fair. But I feel like we were blue-balled. It's not just like ZKK. It's not just Zoro not getting a flashback or not having any relevance. It's not just the way Big Mom lost, or the way Kaido lost, or the Big Mom amnesia stuff. It was like, I don't like talking too negative about Wano, but how many things really went right in Wano? And this is my opinion. So again, you guys can tell me. This is only my opinion. But to me, not a lot of things actually went the right way in Wano, and a lot of things went the wrong way. I think with, like, even just like Oden's being so stupid that he fell for Orochi and Kaido and everything that they were saying. You could have done that better. Like, how is this guy gonna fall for that for years? For 5 years, he's gonna dance naked, believing him. And then not only that, but then he falls for it again when he decides to step in the boiling pot. And, like, these guys lie to you for 5 years, and then say psych, and then you believe them again and stand in the pot for an hour. Why didn't you just tell your scabbards to run, or why didn't you jump in? Why didn't you wait for them to unshackle you, jump in, and then run? I don't even think they unshackled him. So why didn't you just run, right? Like certain things about Wano just felt like I hate using the term because I'm not saying that this is what it was. I'm just saying this is what it felt like to me. It felt like lazy writing a lot of the time. Um, I think Wano's just okay. So never got the hate for Skypiea while it was running and before it became important. An island in the sky. I mean, come on, how can you not? From a journey perspective, which is the heart and soul of One Piece. Yeah, yeah, an island in the sky. That's why I love Jaya, because I think Jaya hyped up the idea of an island in the sky more so than Skypiea. Once we were already up there, it was like, oh, okay. It's like how people will hype up skydiving so much, and then as soon as they do it, they're like, oh wow, that was good, but then it's done, right? You're not talking about it like that anymore. As soon as they were on the Sky Island, like that hype for it being an island on the sky was kind of gone, and then it was kind of like every other arc from there, where you just meet the same characters, the same issues. They're oppressed. There's this bad guy. He has a bunch of subordinates. Let's do our thing. The writing from Jaya to Luffy ringing the bell and Mont Blanc Flash is crazy. Sky Island Saga goes full circle with the best symbolic in my opinion. Okay, if you're gonna throw Jaya in with Skypiea, now we're talking. Now there's a conversation to be had, right? Because Jaya was special. Jaya was special, man. And the lore of the Sky Island, is the Sky Island real? That talks about the Emerald City and what's his name? Dude who got one shotted, Bellamy, and the idea of pirates and their dreams of these things that are almost mythical. But that was mostly in Jaya. That part I loved. My favorite speech, Blackbeard's speech, people's dreams never end. All of that was amazing, but can you count that with the Skypiea arc? Because what I remember the Skypiea arc was the Wipers, and I love Wiper. But I'm just saying the Shandorians, their stuff with them, the stuff with that girl. I can't remember her name. Gonfall. And I've never rewatched Skypiea, so keep in mind, guys, I'm going off memory of like 7 years ago, 2015. So maybe 8 years ago now. I'm going off of memory, but at the time, I didn't enjoy it as much as I enjoyed every single arc before that. Because I remember the feeling of Baratier, Arlong Park. I think just like a lot of people, for me, Nami saying Luffy help me, I fell in love with One Piece. The walk to Arlong Park is a feeling I think almost every One Piece fan can never forget, because like it's like if I'm trying to get my friends to watch One Piece, I'll always tell them, I'll say, get to episode 37. If you watch episode 37 of One Piece and you're even questioning it, even if you're like on the fence, drop it. Just drop it. Just don't even bother watching One Piece again, because if you don't love episode 37 of One Piece, you're not going to love One Piece. So that's the feeling Arlong Park gave me. Alabasta, the first big arc. The adventure there, the crew splitting up, the Mr. Prince stuff, the Smoker stuff, the Ace stuff, the Nico Robin stuff. Amazing. The only one bad thing about Alabasta, even during the time, now it's like even talked about more because of how many fake out deaths there's been now. But even at the time, I remember being like, "What the hell is this?" with Pell, right? But Skypiea almost felt like a break to me, and I don't want to sound like a hater, but after all that chaos from the Romance Dawn to the East Blue to the build of all those arcs before Alabasta, the Whiskey Peaks, the Reverse Mountains, once Alabasta finished, it was like, okay. And then we had Jaya, and then Skypiea was kind of like slow. It picked up towards the end. The latter 30%, 40% of Skypiea was great, but the beginning, not so much for me. And again, I know I keep saying this, but this is just my opinion. The writing because I came into One Piece with the promise of adventure set up in East Blue Saga. Black Lemmy, unpopular opinion. Thriller Bark almost as boring as Fishman Island. Wow, man, I love Thriller Bark, but I don't think that's an unpopular opinion. I think people loving Thriller Bark like loving Thriller Bark. Like top 10 arcs in One Piece is an unpopular opinion. I think a lot of people think Thriller Bark is boring, and I get it because Moria was a boring antagonist. He was, and if you're gonna take away the stuff with Kuma and Zoro and the end of the arc, it wasn't necessarily as threatening as the other arcs. But that's not why I like Thriller Bark. I like Thriller Bark because it was fun. I like Thriller Bark because in terms of the Straw Hat dynamic, what I love to see with the Straw Hat Pirates, of them splitting up and comedic scenes and goofiness and the strong people being together, the weak people being together, all this, or like, and then this person bumps into this person, meets up, Sanji bumps into Nami, meets up here, fights Absalom. Luffy's with the strong crew with Frankie, Robin, Zoro, Sanji. They see the zombie come out, they put it right back in. That's how scared they are of zombies. They walk right up and stuff it back in. Meanwhile, you got the weakling, the coward trio crying and running all around the castle, running away from every single person. I love that. I love that. To me, that could have been filler. That's why I love G8. I love the G8 arc as well because every now and then you need those kind of arcs. At least I do, and that's why I love Thriller Bark. That's why Thriller Bark is one of my favorite arcs, not because of a fight. And there's not a single fight in Thriller Bark, not even Zoro versus Rima, that I really care about or I really enjoyed or I mention when I think about best fights in One Piece. I mean, I love what Fishman is saying. I just hate the execution. Okay, you know what? This is a perfect example of nothing else matters if you're not enjoying an arc. Fishman Island had some of the best storytelling in an arc. Arguably the best. Fishman Island's storytelling of the issues that the fish people were going through, the reasons that Arlong is the way he is, that Hody is the way he is, that Jinbei is the way he is, what the humans did to the fish people, what the Celestial Dragons did, the Celestial Dragon coming full circle in the Reverie, which is also foreshadowing the Celestial Dragon that was forgiven by them, and then of course the blood transfusion. Excuse me. Fishman Island arguably had the best, and then the Jinbei and Nami and Nami forgiving Jinbei. Fishman Island had arguably the best single arc storytelling, aside from Marineford, in the entire story, and yet I don't give a damn about Fishman Island. And I say that because what good is any foreshadowing? What good is any storytelling? What good is any character progression like Sanji and Whole Cake Island if an arc isn't enjoyable to begin with? It's like building a second floor to a house when it doesn't have a first floor. It just, what are you doing? Like, build the foundation first. That's just the way I see it. And to me, Fishman Island had no. What was enjoyable about Fishman Island? What characters did we connect to? Shirahoshi? I didn't connect to Shirahoshi. Not even 1/10, not even 1/100th as much as I connected to Vivi in Alabasta. What's his name? Neptune? No. Orihime? Yeah, but she's a flashback. That's easy. It's easier to connect to flashback characters. Look at Corazon. Look at we didn't connect to Ace until the ASL flashback. It's easier to connect to characters in a flashback when you know they're dead. So Corazon, Fisher Tiger, all these characters. The Fisher Tiger flashback is one of the best flashbacks in One Piece. And the stuff with like the what's it called? They're not Marines, I guess. The agents and what they did to Fisher Tiger. It's just it was beautiful. But it didn't have, it was what was there to enjoy? So if you can't enjoy it, these things just don't matter, at least to me. I just hate the execution. Exactly. Both, I liked watching it unfold and knowing it was going to significant later in the story. I love lore also from Oden, Whitebeard, and Roger Flashback in Ancient Kingdom and Void Century. Wano as a whole arc is too slow, but everything is forgotten when Gear 5 appears. So I think us saying Wano is so slow is one of the reasons we don't like it. And other people, when they binge it, they won't have that issue. Because when you binge arcs, the pacing is not as much of an issue. Especially if you're reading and you're not watching it. So people who watch Wano later on will enjoy it a lot more. I'm sure of that. True, I remember the Wano hype, but I still enjoyed it. Wano for me was a letdown because it was supposed to be Zoro's arc. Thank you, Chaz Turner. Wano was a letdown because it was supposed to be Zoro's arc. That's one of the reasons. I don't want to say that's the only reason. It's not even close. But
as Zoro is my favorite character in the entire story of One Piece, along with Shanks, and it was a letdown. It was kind of like, because we didn't see Zoro for like 3-4 years before that, and then he barely played any role more so than any of the other arcs. We didn't get any information about his childhood family, how he's related to Wano. Exactly. I made a video on like I made a video called Wano, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So the three best things, the three bad things, and then the three ugliest things, which are like way worse than bad. So if you guys want to see like my in-depth, in detail opinion on Wano and the things that I really liked and the things that I really hated about Wano, go watch that video. It's called Wano, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Wano is not stupid. Odin is not stupid. He has the same resolution to think he can change people just by the way he acts. It's kind of cool, I think. I think it's kind of cool in the beginning, but there's that saying, right? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. That saying is there for a reason, right? Like, how many times are you going to get fooled? Luffy's stupid, but Luffy doesn't get fooled. Luffy's not dumb. Luffy doesn't just trust everyone blindly. Like, we'll see the scenes where he just looks at Law and he's like, "Are you going to betray me? No? Okay, we're in an alliance." We get gag scenes like that, but Luffy is more careful than people think sometimes. I don't think most people know this or not, but Skypiea is supposed to be like what heaven is like, so that's maybe why people didn't like it, if I had to guess. I don't know if you mean heaven under okay, so Black let me know. Best story, worst storytelling, LOL. You talk about Fisherman Island? I think it was good storytelling. I do. I just think it was non-enjoyable. Like, I don't know. I feel like if Fisherman Island was like a book, not even a manga, just like a regular novel series, like a book, like Harry Potter, I would enjoy Fisherman Island more, just reading it like a book. But watching it was just, I don't know. Maybe you're right. For Fishman, I mean, I know you won't see that message right now, so I think it's best if I specify I'm typing while you say Fishman is the best storytelling. I know. Because I've been rambling on for a long time, so I'm a little bit behind on these comments, but I'm going to try and catch up so that the comments I read are relevant to exactly what I'm saying. But I get what you're saying, Black Lemmy. I get what you're saying. But I do think it was good storytelling. It's just executed poorly, like someone said. Whoever it was that said that. Let me see. Someone put it perfectly. Yeah, yourself. I mean, it was good, but just poor execution. Because I can think of the best story in the entire world right now. I can think of it, and I can put it in a book, and it can be dog shit because I'm not a good storyteller, right? So you can have a very, very, very good story, or sorry, not no. I can tell a very good story, and it can be dog shit if I don't execute it correctly, right? If I don't know where exactly to place things, how to place them in the best spots to get the biggest impact, where to insert characters, what characters impacted what in what scenarios, execution in terms of like that. But I think the story in itself, in the most base form of what Fishman Island was about, was beautiful, very, very beautiful. Fishman Island is bad only because the antagonists are a bunch of nobodies. If Tiger was alive and turned out to be the bad guy, it would have been more memorable. Good antagonist makes good arcs. That's a good point. That is a good point. And Zoro one-shotting the main antagonist, even me as a Zoro fanboy, Zoro one-shotting the main antagonist didn't do him any favors. It did Zoro favors. It didn't do Hody any favors. And Hody was just a garbage antagonist to begin with. So there's nothing there. And I don't even remember a single person in Hody's crew. I remember like the octopus that Zoro fought, and I remember that giant Wadatsu, was it, or Wadasame, something like that. Other than that, they weren't memorable, and that's an issue. They got to be memorable. And it shows you because Arlong was memorable, even though he kind of went through the same stuff that Hody went through, except Hody wasn't in the Sun Pirates, but Arlong was very memorable because of the way Arlong Park was written. Hody wasn't memorable at all, even though he had the same oppression, same suffering, blah blah blah. No one cared about Hody because of poor execution on his character. I read Fishman, didn't watch it, and I dropped One Piece for like 2 years in the middle of the arc. I don't blame you. What do you think about the theory of Oars being the first Joy Boy? I remember that theory. I seen your complete One Piece theory and loved it. That's why I subscribed. As I said before, I can't wait to get to the Void Century. Thank you for subscribing, Chaz, and I appreciate that you watched that video and you enjoyed it. So then that video is all of my thoughts on Joy Boy, pretty much. My biggest theory video was all about Joy Boy. Joy Boy is like my biggest theory in One Piece, I guess. But even that was kind of like just what I think his backstory was and how I think the One Piece world. That was basically how I think the One Piece world came to where it is today, and all of the occurrences that made it what it is today. But Oars being Joy Boy, I'm not a fan of that. I don't think it's impossible. And I've watched someone a couple years ago, like 2-3 years ago, I watched someone's video on. Let me see if I can find it on why Oars is, and it was a really good theory. Oars is Joy Boy. It might have been Marshall D. Preach's video. Marshall D. Preach. It was an amazing video. Amazing video with like a lot of good reasons. And it's a good theory. I just don't believe it. I just don't believe that Oars is Joy Boy. That's just me personally. Because so we know Joy Boy is a giant. And there's a lot of foreshadowing. Like I don't know if anyone brought this up, but like just a scene of Ace building the hat for Oars, for like the Oars Jr. and Marineford. And then you think about the giant hat we saw with Emu, right? There's some interesting things there, but I don't know. It could be. I don't know. I'm not bought. I don't want to say I'm not a fan of that theory. I'm not bought into that theory. Like I don't fully believe it. An ancient kingdom lore. Yeah. I can't wait for. I think the Void Century flashback. Basically the Joy Boy flashback. Aside from the Blackbeard if we actually get a full flashback of the Void Century, without a doubt, it will be the best flashback. But that Blackbeard, Kid, Dragon, Akainu, I want to see those flashbacks. Black Lemmy, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Storytelling is execution. Story was good, but storytelling execution was bad. Fair enough. It's Marshall D. Preach. I got it from him also. Yeah. Well, now when I search it up, I'm seeing other Oars theories as well. But I think Marshall D. Preach was the first person to come up with that, because I watched that theory about a year or 2 years ago, and I'm pretty sure it was his, and it was a solid theory video. I don't believe Oars Jr. is, but Oars surely can be. No. I don't think. No. I'm not saying Oars Jr. is. I'm just saying that like us seeing Oars Jr., which is 8 Oars, being given a hat by Ace, a D, and it's like a hat that it wasn't a straw hat, but it was like those I guess technically it is a straw hat, like what he gave him. It's that Wano hat, but that's like a good. If Oars, like the original Oars, ever is Joy Boy, then I can't help but look back at that scene and think that's Oda trying to like do something there. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that Oars would be Joy Boy. No, not at all. Joy Boy is dead. We know this. But anyways, guys. I was expecting to stream for like 20 to 25 minutes. It's been over an hour and a half, so I think I'm going to end it here. Thank you guys. 7 likes, 4 people still watching. I appreciate you guys all so much. Thank you. Let's do a quick, in case you guys have any more questions. Hammer out those questions now. If you guys want to ask any more questions, and we're going to end the stream in about 3 minutes. So whatever questions you guys want to ask now, let's end it. And again, if you guys weren't here in the beginning, every last one of you that subscribed, this is my 1,000 subscriber special. So I'm gonna save this. It'll be a VOD. But thank you guys for watching this. Thank you guys for subscribing. To reach 1,000 subscribers in 6 months, it's not something that I ever expected. So I appreciate that greatly. So let's keep going. Let's get as much as we can. We're already at almost at 1.5K now. I'm gonna drop some good. I got some good theories coming out for you guys right now. I got a lot more theory videos than anything else, but solid theory videos. So if you guys like that rocks video, there's more videos like that coming. So just stick around for those. And there's still power scaling videos. Like this Saturday will be a power scaling 1v1, a one-on-one who would win. And I think it's going to be one that you guys will like a lot. So stick around for that. I believe Oars that we saw in Thriller Bark was Oars Jr. And Oars Jr. we saw at the war was the third. Yeah. Sometimes I know stuff in my head, but it doesn't come out. Like I know that. I said Oars Jr. I just didn't say Oars the third. But yeah, the Oars at Thriller Bark is he's not the original Oars either. He's Ors Junior, and then the Ors that Marine Ford is like, I don't even know if he was the third. He might have been even further down. I'm not even sure if he was the son of the Ors and Thriller Bark. But yeah, I know what you're saying, Chaz. Thank you though for pointing that out. The original Ors is Onigashima. That's not a bad theory. That's not a bad theory at all. That's Skull on Onigashima. Black Lemmy, thanks for the stream. Like I said, if you want help with your setting, DM me. I'm glad to help. DM me. I appreciate that, Black Lemmy. Thank you very much. DM me on my Reddit or on my Twitter. If you want my Twitter, it's on my profile. So go to my, or I'll just put it here. Or even my Discord. But I don't know how Discord works. Here. DM me here because I'm very, very, very bad with technology. So please go ahead and DM me, and I appreciate that a lot. Thank you, Garo. I appreciate that. Chaz Turner, keep grinding and drop those banger theory videos. Okay, I'll tell you guys right now. Since you guys are on this live stream, you guys deserve to know. So this weekend, you're gonna get a one-on-one. Who would win? I won't tell you who it is, but it's gonna be a good one. Right now, what I'm currently working on and I'm editing is a GARP theory video, a full project of a GARP theory, and I think it's gonna be a good one. You guys are going to enjoy this one. It's going to be a really good GARP theory video. And then if you watch my Rocks video, you will know that I have a Shanks theory video coming out that I think is going to be a lot better than that Rocks theory video. So if you guys like that Rocks theory video, the part 2 of that with Shanks that ties into that is going to blow your mind. And then so I have that. I have a GARP theory video, and I have some more power scaling videos. And I have some other theory videos that I haven't started them yet. They're still just in the scripts, but I got a lot of stuff coming, guys. I got a lot of stuff coming. I got a lot of analysis videos, and I have so many ideas, it's hard to do them all at once. But I never have any problems running out of ideas. I don't have Twitter, band, prefer Discord or your Reddit. Okay, let me give you my my Reddit because I don't know how Discord works. Okay, you know what? I'll give you my Discord, my name. Because if I give you my name, you can just search it, right? Let me read my name out. So my name is NatureBoy number 4917. Can I copy? Okay, copied. Boom. So that's my Discord. Message me there. Reddit, it's NatureBoy1996. And yeah, feel free to message me there, guys. Even if you guys just want to DM me whatever you want, power scaling, whatever you want, DM me. If I see it, I don't check Discord a lot, but if I see it, I'll respond to you guys. Anyways, I'm gonna end this stream, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like I said, stick around for that video on Saturday and the other videos coming out. I appreciate you guys being here for my first ever, for what will hopefully be many, many more live streams down the road. Next time, I'll have a lot more ideas of things that we can do. I'll ask you guys if you want to do any tier lists, if you guys want to do rankings, stuff like that. Even today, we did a lot of fun stuff. We ranked arcs. We ranked post-time arcs. We went over our theories on 1075. We talked about Wano in depth. Maybe we'll do some more interesting stuff next time as well. But anyways, guys, thank you guys for watching. NatureBoy out. Let me see if I know how to end this, first of all. Like, this is how bad I am with technology. Stop streaming. You will disconnect.